Hi there, I'm in week 12 of using hyperbaric oxygen therapy to treat the Lyme disease, and I thought now would be a really good time to just stop and do a quick update. I did promise right from the outset that I would vlog the good, the bad, and the ugly, and this week has most definitely been ugly, but there have been a couple of quite extraordinary things with the HBOT that I wanted to share for those of you that are following this. In the last 2 weeks since my last vlog, I've added the methylene blue in, which has actually gone in really well. I haven't had any major problems with it, apart from all the weird blueness that happens with methylene blue, which is always quite shocking. I've also finally come off all the mast cell medications. So before I started treatment for Lyme, I had very severe mast cell activation and was actually on like mega doses of multiple mast cell medications. I still battle MCAS, but it's much less severe than it was. And we were a little bit concerned about interactions with the methylene blue, which weren't definite interactions, but I am just on so much medication with all the herbal stuff and everything else I'm on that we thought now would be a good time to take those out. So yes, I've stopped the mast cell medication and also well and truly on this pulsing protocol. And the pulsing protocol is proving to be incredibly challenging. So basically, what that means is you have a number of days on herbal medication that takes the biofilm off the Lyme and that encourages the Lyme to come up and out and into relapse. And then you start the antibiotics with the Lyme off its guard. Then you do, or then I'm doing, should I say, antimicrobial stuff. And then there's a season where on the cycles where it's about reducing inflammation and just building my immune system up. So essentially, you're coming on and off antimicrobials and antibiotics. And you do that on a cycle. So what that means in practice is what I'm finding is that I'm having a couple of weeks of really severe relapse. Then you go on to the antibiotics, and because the Lyme has increased, you've got herxing, and then you have a couple of weeks where you don't feel well, but you don't feel like you're about to cark it. This is a week of relapse, and it always really shocks me just how quickly the relapsing comes in. It's really savage when I think I'm over 18 months into treatment. But yeah, this week has been really harsh. I've had lots of kind of clonic spasms and jerks, particularly at night, just my limbs involuntarily moving and my face twitching, horrendous high fevers and sweating and the kind of the Lyme neck ache. And I mean, last night was really just beyond. Anyone that has Lyme will know what I mean when I talk about a Lyme headache. It's not just a headache. I'm also a migraine sufferer. It is worse than a migraine. It is like it feels like your skull is going to explode. It's just like your skull is crushing your brain, and the pain is just, I know that's not what's happening, but the pain is just extraordinary. And last night I had the worst fever. I had twitches and spasms, and the headache was just, it actually hit the level where I can't cope. And I took everything and nothing would touch it. This headache was just absolutely beyond. And I was getting up and down out of bed, and it was so bad. I couldn't even move my eyes. I couldn't look around. It was just horrendous. And it got to like 2 in the morning, and I just didn't know what to do with myself. And I suddenly thought, I'm going to go get my HBOT. I've got nothing to lose. I can't sleep. I'm in so much pain. It can't do any harm. And so at 2 o'clock in the morning, I went and climbed into my little soft shell chamber downstairs and just lay there. And after about half an hour, it was amazing. The headache just started to recede. Now, I can't say the headache went, but the headache pain score went down from a level that I couldn't physically cope with to a level where after 90 minutes I got out, I got up, I could move my head and neck, and I could get back into bed. And I actually managed to get 2 hours sleep, which was just absolutely amazing. I mean, just such an amazing thing, because it took me from a place of absolute despair, off the chart pain, to a level when I could actually rest. So I was so thankful for that. The other thing that's happened this week, obviously coming off my mast cell meds, has left me vulnerable. I do still think it was the right decision, because as far as I'm concerned, if there's any risk of interaction, I don't want to be there. But also my body it's just trying to process so much medication, so many pharmaceuticals. But coming off it has left me vulnerable. And last weekend I was at the farm and I had a respiratory flare. And it started not super dramatically. I just couldn't stop coughing, and I could feel kind of my throat was a little bit tight, and but I just couldn't stop coughing, and then struggling to breathe. I took my inhalers, which were limited use. They've never been great for mast cell stuff. I drove myself home. By the time I got home, I really was in a pickle. I was really struggling. It wasn't at the point that you would use an EpiPen. My OA wasn't completely constricted, but it was, if it had been asthma, it would be a fairly bad asthma attack. I was really struggling. And again, I thought, I don't really know what to do, but I knew my HBOT had 96% oxygen in it, and I was struggling. So I got in my HBOT, and it was absolutely extraordinary. I turned it on, got the pressure up, got the oxygen flowing, and gosh, within 10 minutes I'd stopped coughing, and the mast cell flare just completely died, just fizzled, just burnt out. And I got out 90 minutes later, completely with MCAS, mast cell flare completely gone. It was just extraordinary. Now, I'm not saying I didn't cough and wheeze for the rest of the day. I was a little bit more coughing and a little bit more wheezing, but that kind of crisis was over in 10 minutes in the HBOT. Again, unexpected and absolutely extraordinary. So it has been a really, really really rough couple of weeks since my last vlog, but really amazing from an HBOT point of view, that it's really saved me twice, if you like. These next 2 weeks are set to be quite tough. I am in relapse. History says that relapse gain momentum. So as sick as I was last night, and as rough as I'm starting to go down the drain tonight, to be honest, I've got a fever kicking up again. This next week is going to be harsh. I've got to get through a week of relapse before I start the antibiotics. And then if the relapse is this bad, I'm not into speaking stuff over myself, but you can be pretty sure as eggs, the herx is going to be horrendous, because the more Lyme there is, the more there is to die off, the more endotoxins and rubbish is going to hit my body when those new antibiotics go in, and then new antibiotics, which the Lyme are not used to. So these next 2 weeks are set to be rough. It is a bit buttercup for these next 2 weeks. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how the HBOT supports me through that. What I'm finding with the HBOT is kind of like a seesaw. If I do too much of it, or not too much of it, if I do a lot of it, that can push me into more herxing. But equally, doing some of it really helps with the inflammation and the headaches, clearly, the mast cell and the symptoms. So I'm going to be kind of, I think, over these next 2 weeks, kind of rocking on a seesaw, really needing it for the anti-inflammatory and the therapeutic effects, but not wanting to push myself into a kind of mega herx, particularly as this is going to be the first antibiotic pulse with the Methylene Blue as well, which is also a really strong antimicrobial, and I'm not on a small dose of it. So yeah, should be an interesting couple of weeks, but possibly not the easiest. So I should imagine my next vlog will be fairly raw and real too. But yeah, just thought it was a good opportunity to just share some of the amazing stuff amongst the struggle and the storm that has been these last couple of weeks. So I will be back in a couple of weeks to give you an update and let you know how I've got on. Thanks.